Why do you treat me this way? You're so cruel.
Cruel? No, just awake.
Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed.
Is this how you treat your girlfriend? I want some comfort.
If you wanted comfort, your tears would be silent. These ones are too loud. They're a demand, not grief.
You really can't be fooled.
In this video, I'm going to reveal 14 Nietzschean psychological truths that will allow you to instantly read any woman, whether she's smiling at you, testing you, or even crying in front of you. Each truth is like a key, unlocking a layer of the mask until what stands before you is no longer the illusion, but the reality. Let's begin. Nietzsche once said that truth is rarely spoken directly. It is disguised, filtered, wrapped in layers of performance. This is especially true when it comes to women. Her words are not the purest signal of her mind. They are the mask she offers you. Consider this. She says, "I'm fine," but her voice is tighter than usual. Her arms are crossed, and her eyes avoid yours. The words are a costume, carefully chosen to hide something underneath. The body, however, doesn't lie. It leaks the truth she doesn't want revealed. The first rule, then, is simple. Never rely on what she says. Instead, pay attention to the contradictions between her words and her body. Does her laughter come with tension in her shoulders? Does her agreement sound forced? Too quick, as if rehearsed? Nietzsche's insight is cruel but liberating. Speech is a mask, but bodies betray. Nietzsche believed human beings are actors. Life itself is theater. And nowhere is this more visible than in the way women display emotions. A woman's tears, her laughter, even her sudden silences. These are not always raw expressions. They are performances, often tailored for an audience. Ask yourself, who is this emotion for? If she cries loudly in public, glancing sideways to see if others notice, you're not witnessing pure sorrow. You're watching strategy. Real emotion does not require spectators. It bursts out unplanned, messy, private. Performed emotion, on the other hand, seeks control, to guilt you, to sway you, to bind you. The rule is this: never judge emotion by its intensity. Judge it by its authenticity. Is it uncontrolled, or is it staged? Nietzsche knew that humans hide their desires behind drama. To read her instantly, strip away the theater and ask, what does this performance want from me? Nietzsche understood that human beings reveal themselves most not in what they say consistently, but in what they contradict. Women, especially, are masters of weaving identities, yet contradictions always leak through. Picture this. She insists.
I don't care about him anymore.
Yet hours later, she's scrolling through his social media. She says, "I'm independent. I don't need anyone." But when you don't reply instantly, anger erupts. These contradictions are not accidents. They are the exposed wires of the psyche. Nietzsche's lesson is clear. Truth lives in paradox. To instantly read a woman, you must ignore her claims and watch her contradictions. What she fights hardest to deny is usually what governs her. The contradiction is the moment the mask slips. It is the instant where the illusion collapses under its own weight. If you want to know what she truly desires, track not her harmony, but her dissonance. There, her reality is naked. For Nietzsche, beneath every emotion, every word, every relationship lies one engine, the will to power. It is the fundamental drive to assert influence, to secure control, to test strength. When a woman clings to you, when she insists, "I can't live without you," it may not be pure affection. It may be the unconscious attempt to anchor her influence, to ensure you orbit her. The man who believes love is only sweetness will miss the undercurrent. Possession, control, and domination dressed in tender words. To read her instantly, examine the balance. Does her love give you freedom, or does it bind you tighter under invisible chains? The answer reveals whether you are loved as a man or used as a resource. Nietzsche warned that most of what we perceive in others is simply a reflection of ourselves. The qualities you think you see in a woman are often projections of your own unconscious. If you are insecure, you will see rejection in her silence. If you are jealous, you will interpret her friendliness as betrayal. In other words, she becomes a mirror for your shadow. This does not mean her behavior is irrelevant, but it means your interpretation is never pure. Nietzsche believed we are strangers to ourselves, and women, with their subtle signals, magnify that blindness. The rule then is to ask, what does my reaction to her reveal about me? When you feel most provoked, most exposed, it is often because she has unknowingly mirrored back a part of yourself you'd rather ignore. To instantly read her is also to instantly read yourself. Without that, you'll always confuse your projection with her truth. Nietzsche once wrote, "In laughter, all that is evil comes together." What he meant is that people often disguise truth within humor, teasing, or playful remarks. Watch carefully. When a woman jokes about your flaws, mocks your habits, or teases you, there is almost always a seed of sincerity buried within. The joke is the mask, but the truth slips out through the laughter. If you dismiss it as just play, you miss the signal. Her playful digs may reveal jealousy, attraction, or even contempt. The safest truths come cloaked in humor because they can always be denied.
Relax. I was just joking.
Nietzsche's insight was brutal. Laughter can be cruelty wearing perfume. The rule is, take play seriously. In her jokes and teasing, you will often hear what she would never dare confess directly. Behind the giggle lies the judgment. Nietzsche said that silence is not the absence of communication. It is its most dangerous form. When a woman withholds words, it is not emptiness, it is strategy. Think of the moments she goes quiet after conflict. She isn't out of words. She is letting her silence speak louder than anything she could say. Silence can punish, manipulate, or test. It forces you into unease, into filling the gap, into chasing. The rule is this: always listen to silence. If her laughter and words are performance, her silences are weapons. They tell you what she refuses to say openly, what she wants you to feel without her confessing it. Nietzsche believed that truth is rarely spoken directly, and in the case of women, their silence often screams the loudest. To read her instantly, ask not what is she saying, but why is she not saying anything at all? For Nietzsche, life is a battlefield of strength and weakness. Every bond is tested, every claim to power challenged. Women understand this instinctively. When she pushes your buttons, questions your decisions, or withdraws affection suddenly, it may not be cruelty. It is a test. She wants to know, is he grounded or does he crumble? These tests are rarely about the surface issue. It is not about the text you forgot to send or the minor flaw she points out. It is about whether you can hold your center when challenged. Fail the test, and her respect erodes. Pass it, and she feels your solidity. Nietzsche would call this the eternal struggle of wills. Her test is not the problem, your reaction is. Reading her instantly means recognizing the test for what it is and refusing to flinch. She is not seeking perfection. She is seeking strength. Nietzsche coined the term resentment to describe a toxic form of memory. Unlike anger, which explodes and burns out, resentment festers. It disguises itself as silence, then resurrects at the smallest trigger. With women, this law is undeniable. If she repeatedly resurrects an old wound, a mistake you made, a word you said, understand this. It is not about that single event. It is about the unhealed resentment beneath it. Nietzsche wrote, "Nothing on earth consumes a man more quickly than the passion of resentment." And he was right. Resentment is not just memory. It is memory with poison injected into it. So when a woman says, "Remember last year when you ignored me at that dinner?" No, she is not talking about the dinner. She is telling you that the wound has not closed. Here's the secret. Women with resentment rarely want an answer. They want acknowledgement. If you defend yourself logically, you fail. If you ignore it, you fail. But if you recognize it for what it is, a disguised memory, you disarm it. To instantly read a woman, look for patterns in what she brings up again and again. What she cannot let go of is where her true feelings live. The past never dies for her. It waits like a ghost in the room. Nietzsche believed that vanity is not mere arrogance. It is camouflage. He wrote, "Vanity is the fear of appearing original. It is thus a lack of pride, but not necessarily a lack of ambition." This is the paradox. Vanity is not strength. It is fear dressed as strength. When a woman flaunts herself, her beauty, her intelligence, her independence, look closer. Behind the display, there is often a hidden insecurity she is desperate for the world not to see. Think of the woman who constantly reminds everyone that, "I don't need anyone." Nietzsche would say, this proclamation itself proves dependency. For if it were true, she would not need to say it at all. So when a woman posts endless curated images of perfection or constantly seeks praise, understand what is happening. She is revealing her wound by overcompensating for it. To read her instantly, you must pierce the veil. Ask yourself not, what is she showing me? But what is she hiding? The answer will always reveal the truth. Nietzsche distrusted compliments more than insults. Why? Because insults are honest. They reveal what someone feels. Compliments, however, are almost always tactical. When a woman flatters you, do not absorb it passively. Ask yourself, what does she want me to do after this? Because here lies Nietzsche's psychological law. Flattery is rarely neutral. It is guidance disguised as praise. When she says, "I love how ambitious you are," she may not simply be admiring you. She may be encouraging you to continue working, achieving, striving. When she says, "You're such a good listener," she may not simply be kind. She may be reminding you of the role she expects you to play. The truth is, every compliment contains an invisible string. She is pulling you gently toward a behavior she desires. So when she praises you, do not only listen to the words, listen to the direction. Where is this compliment trying to lead you? If you can answer that, you will see her intention long before she ever speaks it aloud. Nietzsche once said, "Only in war do great qualities reveal themselves." Apply this to relationships. Only in conflict do you see who a woman truly is. When everything is calm, she may appear gentle, agreeable, adoring. But when tension arises, jealousy, disagreement, betrayal, that is when her truest instincts surface. Does she attack, manipulate, or retreat into silence? Or does she stay grounded, seeking truth? Many men make the mistake of judging a woman only in harmony. Nietzsche would say, this is blindness. To truly read her, watch her in moments of friction. For there, the mask slips and the shadow reveals itself. Nietzsche never believed desire was simple. He saw passion not as pure fire, but as a negotiation wrapped in flame. When a woman desires you, it is rarely just about you. It is about what you represent, your status, your potential, your resources, your symbolic power in the social order. Nietzsche wrote, "Every passion has its spectre, its calculation." In other words, even in the most intoxicating desire, there is always a shadow of strategy. When she looks at you with hunger, she is also calculating. Could she build a life through you? Could she gain stability, children, security, or maybe simply an adventure, an escape, a story worth telling? This does not mean her desire is fake. No, desire is real, but desire is also layered. And to read her instantly, you must look at the layers beneath. Ask, why me and why now? You will often find the answer not in her words, but in her timing, in her life stage, in her silent ambitions. Desire without calculation is rare. Nietzsche would say, almost non-existent. The final law is the most subtle and the most dangerous. Nietzsche understood that humans rarely see others clearly. Instead, they project. They accuse others of what they themselves secretly harbor. And women, being deeply intuitive but also deeply guarded, are masters of projection. When she accuses you of selfishness, ask, is she wrestling with her own selfish impulses? When she cries, "You don't care about me," ask, is she secretly questioning her own capacity to care? Projection is a mirror held up to the unconscious, and Nietzsche believed that to see it is to pierce through the disguise of words and glimpse the raw truth of the psyche. So when a woman blames, accuses, or judges you, do not react defensively. Instead, invert the statement. What if she is describing not you, but herself? This is the final key. For once you learn to read projection, you are no longer bound by her words. You see her shadow, her hidden drives, her secret fears. And with this, Nietzsche's 14 psychological truths become a complete system. A way to read any woman instantly, not by her surface, but by the forces moving underneath.